Hey guys, what is going on? Everyone's here, and welcome back to an episode of Cards and Castles TV commentary, where we have some pretty interesting matches, I would say, for the most part, for you guys today. So before we jump into it, though, I just kind of want to put it out there. We should see some more variety and content coming soon. I know I've been on a pretty standard routine sort of pattern lately, with the last video being kind of one of the first surprises in a little bit, but I'm happy to kind of report that some interesting stuff is in the works, some familiar, some maybe not so much. So do keep an eye out. Not if you're a fan of the channel in general, and not just here for the CNC stuff. I do appreciate you guys who aren't here only for the CNC stuff, because I like to make content of all different varieties, not just, of course, this game. So I want to put out a little bit more of those in the coming days, which you'll of course see as we progress into the holidays. And of course, there will be some stuff that you guys will, the familiar stuff that we're going to throw into the mix as well. So you guys won't be completely, if you're turned off by the other content I have here, you won't be completely without something. So with that being said, enough of me promoting future content. Let's go ahead and get into the current content, which is, of course, the matches in today's lineup for TV commentary. Starting off. Alright, and so for our first matchup here, we have Fables taking on, RC. I'm just going to say RC. RC is so much easier. Anyway, RC taking on Fables here. We've got RC rocking the Ninja Warlock. Meanwhile, Fables rocking the Ninja Crusader. Colors that we don't see all too often. But, of course, out of RC, we could be seeing some Awaken. Anyway, Ryder starting off from RC. Responded to by a Were-Rat and then a Faithful Drake from RC's side as moving into turn 3. Followed up with a Knight of Flowers. So, I can see Demon Hunter and Magic Eater in Fables' hands. So, maybe some kind of first strike Voltron-based deck. Who knows? Something along those lines. Meanwhile, powering up Magic Eater. Anyway, Witch Bolt and a Shifting Technique out of RC. I think RC grabbed himself. What was that? I missed it. I know he put the Witch Bolt. Okay, he grabbed the Incinerate. So he Witch Bolts the Knight of Flowers. So Fable's getting an extra card from that. Meanwhile, RC picks up Incinerate from that. So not a bad send-off. Not a bad trade-off, really. We're going to see a Heavenly Shield on the Were-Rat. So he's going to try and get rid of this Faithful Drake. But, of course, that will cost him quite a bit here, giving RC one additional spell. I forgot Were-Rat is a first strike unit after all. But that leaves the Magic Eater vulnerable and will be killed off by the Salahar Rider. And, of course, Lash Will plus Incinerate combo ends up killing off the Were-Rat. So leaving only Faye able to respond with a Demon Hunter. He could have gone Priest, but good to get the Demon Hunter out on the board, even though he is up against Warlock, so Blue Fireball is a very real possibility here. We end up seeing Stone Drake, which is just as an effective trade. It will take out that Demon Hunter, leaving the Stone Drake at 1 health, but we might assume a Priest is going to respond to that. We see Ronin pop out first. Good use of the heal there, and of course the Priest killing off the Stone Drake as predicted. Meanwhile, Ronin, of course, chilling out in the back there. He might not be able to do a whole lot, but we'll see. We do see a Headless Horseman that does connect onto the Ronin, not a kill, but of course, that did take a little bit of a chunk out of Ronin. Ronin in response, well, at least Fables, I should say, in response, puts out a Deflecting Shield, hopefully for that Ronin. He charges Ronin forward, so he wants to get that Deflecting Shield onto the Ronin. RC, though, setting a trap of his own. The Stone Dragon statue, as you just saw there, producing a Green Drake. Meanwhile, Deflecting Shield will be activated. Headless Horseman will be killed off at no trade. And, of course, the Green Drake doing a little bit of damage. Not killing off, well, actually, a good chunk of damage. And, of course, Fables here actually going to respond with a full, I guess, Voltron, if you will. Shifting Technique. Or at least a full load up. I shouldn't say Voltron. Maybe that's not the right word. But a full loadout here. He's using all of his hand to just power up that Ronin. We saw the Dragon Crest Shield, Shifting Technique, Sacred Quest, a whole lot of things here. And we'll see. You'll see here in a moment. This was somewhat of a right call. In the position that Fable's in, there's nothing really that he could have done other than to just fully power that Ronin, because he lost his entire hand in that play. But you'll see how, with how much he put into it, he'll get that back. So we see Mordok come out. Mordok getting the first victim. So, of course, Ronin drawing that Burning Sun from the Shifting Technique. Ronin taking a hit from the Swift Justice's Judgment. That's a mouthful. And of course, the Wraith being the final kill there. But, you know, you can see he's got a lot of cards to work with now. He's got the Shonen in hand, the Knight of Flowers, both from his deck from the Sacred Quest, Flame, Burning Sun, the Shifting Techniques, Random Spell, and of course a normal draw here, which we'll see a Demon Hunter. So Fables was able to get most of his hand back, which is good. We'll see if that's able to help him throughout the matchup here. Flame going to be the card to take out Green Drake, and of course, like I said, the Shonen on the board, looking to power up. Of course, in the Crusaders, it will get a nice little health buff. Chaotic Storm coming down here. It will connect with Castle. All 3 strikes, not a single one on Shonen. Shonen. We'll see if... okay, we'll see Storm Strike come out now. Trap card activated. That will be an Aiajutsu. So, Wraith does, you know, get a little bit of damage on. And actually... that was funky. You see, because this is one of the calls that you don't know if that's technically what's supposed to happen, because Wraith had first strike and feared back the Shonen, right? But the Shonen still connected his attack even though he wasn't next to the Wraith. So on one side, it doesn't really make sense, because if Shonen was pushed away, he should not be able to respond, yet he was able to get the killing blow on that Wraith and delete it from the game. So it's a little bit of a funky interaction, if you ask me. But anyway, moving on into the matchup here, we've got the Demon Hunter following suit with the Knight of Flowers in tow. So, Fables looking to build up a stronger force here, if you will. Panda comes out, though. It will bounce back the Demon Hunter and the Shonen. Both very good scenarios, because, of course, you know, Fables not being able to play those at the same time in his next turn, and being left with just the Knight of Flowers. But that will get a Shadow Katana. He will, of course, kill off the White Knight. We're gonna lunch, you know, in here. Excuse me. But anyway, of course, resummoning Shonen rather than Demon Hunter. That is the smarter choice, because, you know, Shonen, I think, is a bit more of a bigger threat than Demon Hunter. Not to discredit it, but, you know, I do think it's a better option here. And of course, we see RC shifting technique onto what was that? The Panda. Getting, well, was that shifting technique? Hold on, I'm gonna rewind. Oh. You see, it was a shifting technique. Was there anything else to that? Okay, no. So Panda just going in blindly after the shifting technique gets the Dragon's Horde, does use it. Mugs the Shonen, which I don't think is necessarily the right call here in this case. The reason being, Knight of Flowers is a much bigger, maybe not as big as Shonen, but I would say in the more present moment, the Knight of Flowers is a bit more of a deadly threat, because that's 8 damage coming down on your castle. And because RC here is not running Crusaders, that's damage he cannot heal away. He can't, I mean, no matter how many shifting techniques might be in his deck to pull heal, it's just not, I don't think it's going to work out. And I don't think he ends up getting the heal. So, in hindsight, even though, yes, Shonen was about to get a lot more health from his attack, it would have been less damage on the castle, and that's what's, I think, the more important aspect here. Because you'll see right now, even in you know, we can see Fable's hand here. I could assume he's going to go for the Shadow Katana, Knight of Flowers, for a big 12 strike on castle. And again, that 12 is lethal because he can't heal it away. Lethal in the sense that he can't repair the damage. There should be, I think, a term for damage that isn't lethal but still feels like a big blow. It might be just a big blow. Anyway, yeah, we see the Shadow Katana on that Knight of Flowers being, you know, taking a big shot at the castle, and RC actually surrendering as a result. So Fable will get the victory here over RC. Interesting matchup here. The Wraith interaction was a bit confusing. Let me know what you guys think of that down in the comments. I know, because it makes sense both ways you look at it, but should the Shonen have killed off the Wraith? If Wraith had the first strike and feared back the Shonen, should Shonen still be able to make that attack? So, it's pretty interesting. But anyways, strong win for Fable here, but let's go ahead and move on into match number 2 now and see what else is going on. Alright, so moving on into match number 2, it is going to be JaxTaylor taking on zechknight, as you can see up there. Pirate Crusader going up against Ninja Druid. To be honest, no surprises from Jax on what he might be running here in Pirate Crusader. I mean, Search for Truth, Dread Pirate, again, kind of a standard stuff there of greed shenanigans, if you will. Meanwhile, Zech going to be the one that actually started this game off, going out a simple... Oh, I guess didn't really play it. Lumberjack starting off, nothing new or unusual there. Dragon's Horde, meanwhile, from Jax are already looking to get something bigger out onto this board, which is, again, standard Jax stuff. We do see the Merchant's Favor come out. That will lead to a Dread Pirate, I believe. Yep, so he's going to get that invest for the cracks on the following turn. Zek does have the option here to move forward that Lumberjack. I don't think he will, though. Of course, yep, there is the retreating Lumberjack, and there is the Wizard as well to follow up. So he's looking to kind of snipe off that Robins, making sure it gets no value. But meanwhile, Jax opens up with that cracks we were talking about previously, and of course moves up with the Elvish Thief. So he's looking to do a little bit of damage here early on. Shadow Drake going to be zechknight's response. Simply moving it up, I think it's to anticipate the Elvish Strike on Castle. However, Jax takes the more laid-back approach, retreats his units here, and opts to maybe build up a little army here. We do see another Elvish Thief and a Captain as well, so a bit more invest for sure, but also keeping everything back, which is interesting. And we did see a Koru there from Zek as well, so he's kind of in the same boat right now. He's allowing himself to build up a little bit here. We do see, Lumberjack not as aggressive, Shadow Drake being put up here, the Wizard not really advancing too far out. So both players, taking a bit of a laid-back approach here. And Jax opts to draw for his next turn instead of doing the Mordok, which is the smart play. You never know what that Koru can do, and of course, if you put your units in the wrong spot, then it's a big loss in a sense that, Koru snuck up, you lost one of your heavy hitters, and, on you go. Meanwhile, though, Zek going to respond with 2 Magic Eaters following his turn after Jax, of course, did another sort of tactical retreat, if you will. Meanwhile, Jax going to open up with a Mordok on his next turn. Again, we're seeing both players take this sort of laid-back approach here, where it's going to be who makes the first strike out of both of these guys. And, of course, Koru looking to be the first striker, killing off one of those Elvish Thieves, and, of course, Swordsman to follow up. Jack has a pretty good opportunity here to use that scope on Mordok, which, yep, we do see it right there. I assume probably going to hit the Shadow Drake, because that is, of course, something you can easily eliminate, which he does. Horseman gets a good snipe on Koru there, so, of course, the stealth no longer in question. Of course, one of those Magic Eaters being taken out by the Headless Horseman, the other one being weakened by Captain. And of course, smart not to engage with the Elvish Thief here, or else that would have been some good swordsman value from for Zek. So Jax kind of recognizes that and just decides, hey, no thank you, you don't get that. Meanwhile, Beastmaster from Zek, and of course a Bestial Rage, so a little bit of a scary rampaging swordsman now. Although not before getting a shifting technique to boot as well. That will get a battle cry, which he does use. Pushes back the Wraith and the Mordok for some great value there. Big swing, takes out Mordok, Elvish Thief, weakens Kraxus and Wraith, and takes 5 out of the castle. So that was, there was a lot of, I mean, I can't say that was planned. Can't say that was planned. Obviously, the battle cry came from the shifting technique, so not exactly what, I don't think that was Zek's original plan, but I think he got some good value out of that for sure. But meanwhile, of course, gets a mugging from Swordsman's second shifting strike. Eater takes a chunk out of the castle, and it goes back to Jax for the following turn. He does have options here. Of course, the Robin's 2 Magic Eater is one of them. Mercy's Execution will take out the Beastmaster, which is nice, going to kill off both of those bears at no real cost to Jax's units. Flux coming out, killing off the Swordsman. Jax picks up a battle cry of his own and a Furor of Battle. Meanwhile, Zek takes the Pillage. Smuggling Ring from the, I believe, where did he get the invest from? Was it the, oh, Mercenary Execution, that was right. He got the invest from, oh, I'm skipping too far here. Mercenary's Execution, he did a little Smuggling Ring, we got Disintegrate and Mark of the Fist here. Battle Cry being used, pushing back both Lumberjack and Wizard. Meanwhile, Wraith Kraxus is looking to attack a little bit, because they do need to get offensive, because they are, pretty behind. Moving into the late game of this matchup, or at least being in the late game of the matchup, I should say. Jax, meanwhile, in response to what looks to be a Blacksmith Sniper combo from Zek, burns off that sniper with the Disintegrate that he got from the Smuggling Ring. Mark of the Fist on Wraith for some draw, putting down the Merchant's Estate and Master Thief, so he's setting up for a Drymoth next turn, it looks like, because you got the invest from Thief and the coin from Estate, so that is some good Drymoth setup. Zek going to go ahead and opt to play the Demon Hunter. I'm still surprised. That Lumberjack, I think, has been here for the majority of this matchup. I think that's the same Lumberjack from turn 1. proud of it. I'm proud of the Lumberjack for living so long. Anyway, Dremoth, as we predicted, coming out, doing a little bit of healing on the castle, but of course opting to let the Demon Hunter come in and attack. Beaster Rage on that Demon Hunter. No Beast for the buff, but doesn't matter. It looks like Demon Hunter's going to do a hit and run, pillage on the castle. Not going to be really too much of an issue. Jax has the estate, so he'll get back the 10 anyway. Of course, Wraith, Dremoth looking to now block, and of course the Con Artist coming out as well. Kraxus taking a bit of a backseat there. We do see he's got Grimthal's command, which is interesting. I don't think Grimthal works with Victory Rush, so if you're using it for Kraxus, I'm not sure if that really works there. But Ethereal Panda coming out, I had to stop myself for a moment there, comes out, bounces back the Dremoth and Kraxus. After, of course, zechknight clears the board of the smaller units. And, of course, that's big for Zek, putting back the Dremoth, which, of course, Jax can't really summon, and the Kraxus, which will take at least one turn to get back out fully. On the downside, Kraxus will get healed, and we just saw Jax draw another one, so not exactly the best, but hey, at this point, it looks to be in sort of the game-ending stages here. That was not supposed to happen. Well, there's a spoiler for you, but I mean, we do see right now. I was just trying to mention, if you look in this hand here, and we do see the Kraxus come out now, really no way for Jax to kind of pick himself up. He could have drawn maybe a Hands of the Saint if he had it from this search, but it's kind of over when you look at the board here. 2, 5, and then the wizard back here is 9, which is coincidentally Jax's castle health. So unless he had a way to take out maybe the panda, which I could see him doing in like the form of Elvish Thief, then he probably would have been able to make another turn last, perhaps. But we see the School of Knowledge being placed down after Jax's turn there. We do see Merchant Estate looking for some draw. Merchant's Favor, excuse me, looking for draw, but not going to do anything. And like I said, game's already over. Shield Runner bashes his shield in. Panda sits on the castle. Wizard shoots his blast. And that is game over for Jax. So, pretty strong matchup here. Not really plays coming out from either player that we aren't familiar with. It's nice to see Zek running that Ninja Druid pretty effectively on ladder. I mean, it was a lot. It was a heavy stall match, I think, pretty much going from this game. And I mentioned it was all about that first strike and who would make it. We did see Zek kind of being the aggressive one here, opening up. And I think what Jax was trying to do was set up some strong value for that Grimthal's command. However, I don't think it would have worked out. Of course, Grimthal's is a very tricky card to make full use of. And of course, it doesn't really work with Kraxus, I believe, since his ability more comes from a Victory Rush and a combo. So I don't think Grimthal Kraxus works the way Jax intended it to here. But anyway, like I said, strong win for Zek. And of course, that will take us into our final matchup of the day, match number 3. Let's see what we got right now. Alright, so for our final match of the day, we do have, I believe it is Tucker123 taking on tttdiablo. Another Pirate Crusader, looks like taking on a Viking Druid. It's kind of interesting to note. We are seeing a lot more Druid combinations coming out as of late. I'm not sure if that's just what people are into nowadays. I mean, certainly people are free to experiment, but certainly a lot of Druid combinations popping up here and there on the ladder. We'll see how it does here, though. We do see Diablo running Grimthal's command of his own, so I guess people really trying out the Grimthal in green and yellow for some reason, even though I don't think it's super strong. But anyway, both players passing their first turn. Make that passing. Oh, well, I guess Diablo's got his School of Knowledge out now. So they ended up passing the first and second turns, but of course, in moving to third, Diablo does bring out, that School of Knowledge. Meanwhile, Tucker responds with a Wind Mage, so maybe looking to snipe off the school before it gets out of hand. We do see a Serpent Witch ready to take down that Wind Mage if that's the immediate play here. Temple of the Five Gods from Tucker after a Metal Bravery, and that's going to be the end of the turn there. Onslaught from Diablo kills off the Wind Mage. Of course, the bleed effect will take in effect in a moment. There it is. And of course, the Serpent Witch looking to move and attack the castle. Shaman comes out for Tucker. I don't know. I want to quick notice something here. I don't think, and this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, Shaman, not that strong. Not that useful. I get he's pretty much one of your only draw sources in faction colors and combinations that don't really run draw, you know, like anything except Crusaders. But I don't know. I feel like Shaman, just for what he is, I get the need for draw, but I just don't think he's as strong. Just want to throw that out there because I feel like I haven't addressed that as of late, and that's my PSA. So Serpent Witch going to come out now, and of course stun the Shaman after taking a little bit of damage there from Shaman's lightning blast, if you will. Merchant's Favor ×2 results in a Mordok being played a little bit earlier than expected. And of course, the 2 gold leads to some extra draw for Diablo in the next turn. Although I do think it would have been better for those Merchant Favors to be used separately. That way you're getting more value out of them. I understand, though, the need to kind of bring out one of your big guys a little earlier, hence the case with Mordok. I mean, you still have another Merchant's Favor down here anyway, so it's not like it's a total loss. Anyway, Lich from Tucker going to freeze both the Serpent Witch and the Mordok. Of course, Serpent Witch not being killed off by the Lich immediately. And of course, that will result in the Lich taking a little bit of damage here. Followed up by the Racking Note on Tucker's side to clean up the rest of the Serpent Witch. And of course, looking to just hurt the Mordok, I guess. Another favor from Diablo, of course, getting some extra draw from the school. Mordok comes out for a second time, followed up by a Dagger Storm, which takes out one rat and the Lich. So, of course, Lich freezing both Shaman and the rat behind him. I mean, he did freeze a rat, but to which one, you gotta keep that in mind. Anyway, Temple comes out now, or second one, mind you, and of course the Rat King a little bit stronger now. Rat King doing a little bit of damage with his rats, killing off one of the Mordoks, and of course Horseman being summoned as a result. There is some good chance now for Grimthal's command here, so we probably will see Grimthal's command be used. I think this is probably going to be the best, or at least the best point in where it comes out. We'll see if I'm correct. There we are. There's a Grimthal's command. So now Mordok summoning 2 additional units rather than just the 1. And of course, we got the Horseman and the Wraith. Horseman dying from that Chain Lightning connection, but the Wraith lives on and will do some damage on the castle. The second Wraith, the Wraith from earlier, taking on one of the rats, killing it off. Horseman moving below. Captain for some additional invest and draw. And of course, the Serpent Witch, because why the hell not? Leaving Tucker in a pretty interesting position. Vortex is the Mordok, which is a pretty good call there. Horseman shoots off the School of Knowledge, so no more extra cards for Diablo. Horseman connecting with the Wraith, killing off that Mordok with the Chain, which is, again, strong play there. We do see the Wraith take out, or at least the Wraiths do a little bit of Temple damage here. Captain connects to Castle, hits it for 2. Diablo responds with a Mordok, so second out of the 2 that we've seen in his hand so far. Followed by a Southport, so more invest. Although, I'm kind of noticing now, he's got some Luminarises down here, too. He's got Horsemen, so maybe if that survives, you can see some Luminaris blasts. Not 2, of course, that would mean he has to have 14 gold. He's only getting 12 next turn. But hey, we can see a Luminaris. We do see a Yenneroth, though, from Tucker, so that will be, of course, a Southport Captain elimination. Opting to go for the Captain, which is good, because you don't want that repost damage. And, of course, these Wraiths are pretty weak on their own, even though I guess this one has the same health as Captain. Anyway, moving on. Diablo's got that Dagger Storm in his hand now. He will use that, weaken the Yenneroth a bit there, and opt to go for the Craxus instead of the Luminaris, which I guess makes a little bit of sense. You want to put a big threat on the board here, kind of tempt that Yenneroth from not moving in. However, a Mystic Journey onto that Yenneroth, plus an Armory and Centaur Companion. So Centaur takes out 4 from the castle, make that 5 from the Chain Lightning, and of course the Yenneroth takes out the Mordok thanks to his freeze. Finally, one of the now 3 Luminaris is being used, taking out the Armory, Temple, and doing face damage, which is very strong for Diablo. Of course, a little weaker than normal units, and of course, Tucker, opting to hit face, but we do see a couple of Spirit Links come out now. Leanna, not really the right way you want to use the Spirit Link, although I do understand that in that scenario, you kind of need to clear out things while also kind of protecting your other units. And this was Leanna would have been a probably stronger play if there weren't things already on his face, but he makes it work, or at least to the best of his abilities here. We do see, Tucker does hold on and actually has the advantage currently in this matchup. Yenneroth and Centaur both on face. Both can do big damage. Hell, Yenneroth can end the game if Diablo doesn't get it off his face, but I believe he will in this turn. We do see a Frog Prince on Diablo's side, the Serpent Witch doing the smart thing, taking a little bit of damage to that Leanna, gets rid of the last Spirit Link, so that way Diablo can start clearing the more immediate stuff off of his castle, and of course Krax takes out that centaur. A little bit of draw from that. Captain moves up, not killing the Yenneroth, and of course that's probably because, oh, Yenneroth has bleed. Silly me. So of course Yenneroth dies off of that self-bleed, and of course Yarm as a result moves in. Big Yarm value here. Probably would have been bigger if he was to get that one final bit of damage here. As you can see, he's only just shy. If there was probably one more unit maybe situated, kind of just run a little bit here, below the Southport captain. Yeah, if there was a unit right kind of where Southport was, I think if they were over here, unit needed to be here, so that way Yarm would have connected for 3 chain lightning strikes and could have potentially sealed the deal there. Of course, that depends on if certain lightnings activated first, but you know what? We can all, stupid me, I fast forward a little bit too much. Let's get back 10. Yeah, we can see here, he was just shy of 1 damage even, if you consider Sudden Death actually ticks in now, so just a little bit shy here, and of course that will mean Dremoth comes out, heals up the castle a little bit here. Stalwart ability keeps him in place, so Yarm's knockback will not work. Of course, Diablo, looking to do a bit more damage onto Tucker's face. Serpent Witch is the Leanna, but of course Captain hits the face, and of course damage he can't really heal back. So how does Tucker respond? He's got the Leanna out on the board, so a little bit of Spirit Link stuff maybe. One of those trees being stunned after trading with the Serpent Witch. Back to Diablo's turn. Can Diablo finish it off? Yeah, he can. He's got a Luminaris. So that will mean Diablo picks up the win here after, like I said, a Luminaris strike. Very solid win for Diablo, coming out with, I believe, I don't know if that's a Grimthal deck, but we did see some Grimthal in there. We did see some Knight combinations in there. But regardless, Diablo did pick up the win here. Very strong matchup from both players. And honestly, not really much I have to comment on at the end of this matchup. Things went as well as they could, I think, for both players. Unfortunately for Tucker, though, it just was not enough, and Diablo able to squeak out the win here. I did think if Tucker was, maybe should have held back that Yarm a little bit more to perfectly line up a bigger chain, because a bigger chain like that would have just completely swept Diablo's castle, but he took the moment he saw, and of course it just didn't work out for him in the end. So overall, a strong match to end off this edition TV commentary. And with that being said, guys, I hope you did enjoy this edition of TV commentary. Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section below, what you thought of today's matches, and so on and so forth. Again, comment section down below, and while down there, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and of course subscribe if you are new or haven't done this already. Show you support the channel by clicking the subscribe button, and no cost to you. And yeah, that's gonna do it for free for now. So until next time, guys, stay gaming.